So this is the first England squad selected by England's, at the moment, interim manager, Lee Carsley. And this is really my first reaction to it. I briefly looked at it, saw some names, but this is really my first and initial thoughts on his selection. First of all, I have to give my thoughts on the appointment as a whole. I've spoken about it briefly, but I think this is a really fascinating and a very ambitious move by the FA. I actually really like it. Now, Lee Carsley doesn't have a wealth of experience when it comes to coaching elite European club teams. He's obviously never managed at a senior international level as well, too. He got the job based on the fantastic, and I stress, fantastic job that he did with the under-21s. Now, I believe, and I want to be very, very accurate here, Lee Carsley led the under-21s in his term there to the European under-21 championship, beating Spain in the process. And he did it in absolute style, chat. His team was, in particular, very, very, very technical and really focused on keeping possession and beating teams through the technical side of the game rather than the physical side of the game. And I think it's a very interesting transition from Gareth Southgate to him, because I do believe it's a complete 180 in terms of footballing ethos. And Gareth Southgate, first of all, did a very good job for how, in my opinion, limited he is as an actual manager. But the team under Gareth Southgate was a pragmatic one, and it was a team really focused more on keeping a defensive solidity to them, hitting teams on the counterattack, and really kind of shifting through games based on what the opposition gave them, which for the most part, I mean, it led to some success if you consider making finals a success for England, which they hadn't done in a really long time. But he took them obviously to 2 Euro finals. He took them to a World Cup semi-final. It was a pretty solid tenure for Gareth Southgate. He did better than I ever imagined he would do. But in Lee Carsley, it's a complete 180 in footballing ethos. What do I mean by that? Just the way Lee Carsley wants to play, he wants to take the game to the opposition. He wants to really dictate proceedings during the game. He wants his team to be the protagonist, to keep the ball, to really make opposition suffer. And when you look at his first selection, chat, I think it's very evident that that's the way he wants to play. There are no question marks looking at this selection from Lee Carsley, that the way he wants his team to play is keeping the ball and making the opposition chase them. The amount of technical quality from 1 to 23 in this England team, I salute him, man. I salute him. I think it's a breath of fresh air if you're an England fan. Let's go through it. First of all, 6 players that featured under Lee Carsley at the under-21 Euro Championships where they won have made this team, which really shows A, he wants to reward those guys that had so much success for him at youth level, and B, wants to kind of oversee this transition from the Gareth Southgate team into this new era. He's given a lot of young players a chance. Let's start with the goalkeepers. Obviously, Jordan Pickford, long-term goalkeeper for England now, is in the team alongside Dean Henderson and Nick Pope. The key omission, Aaron Ramsdale, who is in the process of making that move over to Southampton in the next few days. But Aaron Ramsdale obviously hasn't played a lot of football for Arsenal in the last year. And if he wants to get back in this team, he's going to have to make a splash at Southampton. But that's the first one that he's kind of changed up. Now, in defense is where you see a lot of new faces. First of all, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, Trent, under Gareth Southgate, was completely neglected. Honestly, left out of tournaments at times. When he was selected, often chosen as a third choice right back. And in the last tournament, started off in midfield when that experiment was scrapped after like a game and a half and barely saw any action throughout. Now, me personally, if you guys don't know my thoughts on that, I think it was an absolute disgrace that one of the most generational players in that position that I've ever seen was effectively treated as a luxury player for England. Almost never saw consistent game time in the biggest games. I think that was an absolute disgrace to use one of the biggest talents that England has at their disposal as effectively a cherry on top kind of player. For me, this is the kind of player and the kind of talent that England should at least be making severe attempts at being a fulcrum of the team, a key piece to the England squad. And when you look at a big omission in this team, one that screams out at you is Kyle Walker. He has been left out of the England setup for the first time in God knows how long. But I think it's the right move when you kind of look at how his last season at City went and how you look at the Euros, how that went. And when you look at the way Lee Carsley wants to kind of transform his team going forward. Now, if you've never seen a Lee Carsley team play, a big part of that is the way they want to build out from the back. It's a patient approach to building up, and it's one that really requires technically sound players. And I think Trent, having said that, will be a huge part to the way England kind of try and do things going forward. So like I said, Kyle Walker out, and in his place is actually a City teammate and a guy that I think Pep is actually making a very concerned effort at kind of replacing Kyle Walker at City level as well too. That's Rico Lewis. Now, again, when I talk about the way Lee Carsley's teams want to kind of play from the back, I think this again screams out for a Rico Lewis kind of player who is one of the most technically proficient players to kind of come out of the City Academy from the last few years. A guy who plays for City quite regularly, especially at the start of this year, likes to invert into midfield, very, very comfortable in those positions. And again, I think is a move and an addition that really shows the shift and mentality going from Gareth Southgate to Lee Carsley. I really like that. Levi Colwill, one of the first players that we're going to speak about in terms of being a huge part of Lee Carsley's under-21 team to now making his very first senior England squad under Lee Carsley. Again, when you look at the way he wanted to build up, a large part of that came down to Levi Colwill and build up, literally putting his foot on the ball, stopping, standing still, and starting attacks from his position. He was massive for that under-21 team. And I'm not sure if he's going to be a guaranteed starter going forward for him, but the fact that he's immediately made the team from the word go under Lee Carsley, I think is huge. I think that's a massive, massive addition. Tino Livramento. Again, I think this is the first time he's ever featured in an England team. I for one, cannot remember Livramento ever featuring, but for me, Livramento, again, can play on either side, right or left. Very, very good athletically. Very, very solid on the ball. Rapid, good 1v1 defender. I like it. I really, really like that move. And especially when you look, England don't have a lot of natural left backs. I think Livramento is probably going to play on the left in friendlies, unless he plays Levi Colwill as an inverted left back, I guess. But Livramento is a real solid option on either side. I like that. Now, the two that he's stuck with, or I guess let me not ignore Mark Guehi, who was one of England's best players at the last Euros, and Ezri Konsa. Again, a guy who's very good at center back and can also do a job at right back. But the two that I want to speak about, John Stones and Harry Maguire, specifically Harry Maguire, obviously he was a late omission from the team due to injury, but under Gareth Southgate was a mainstay in that team. Always trusted from the start. Such a huge player for him in tournaments, and it looks like Lee Carsley is keeping the faith with Harry Maguire as well too. He's in his first England team. But again, you look at those options in defense, it's very clear that a huge impetus has been put on how good you are on the ball. John Stones, very good technically. Harry Maguire, good technically. Livramento, good technically. Rico Lewis, very good technically. Levi Colwill, very good technically. Trent Alexander-Arnold, very good technically. Mark Guehi and Ezri Konsa, they're no slouches either. It's very, very clear what Lee Carsley values in his footballers. We go to midfield, and there's two guys, again, three to be honest, but if you include Cole Palmer, but he's already been part of this England team since the Euros, but I'll include him as well too. Three players that were absolutely crucial for Lee Carsley's team in the under-21 championships when they beat Spain. Cole Palmer, Morgan Gibbs-White, who again I believe is making his debut in this squad, and Angle Gomes, former Manchester United player, current Lille player, and again, I think he was the captain for Lee Carsley's under-21 team. I think these are fascinating additions, guys. Obviously, in the likes of Cole Palmer, no brainer, had such an amazing season, has started where he left off this year as well too. Declan Rice, he's one of the first names on this team sheet, let's be real. Kobbie Mainoo, again in the team. Conor Gallagher made the move to Atletico Madrid, but he's still in this team. And Phil Foden. I'll be very interested in seeing where Lee Carsley decides to deploy Phil Foden, because that was such a big question mark under Gareth Southgate. Was he a winger? Was he a 10? Should he even be starting from the jump? It'll be very interesting to see how Lee Carsley deploys all of these guys. But let's talk about Angle Gomes in particular, right? I absolutely love this. As a Man United fan, I was really disappointed to see Angle Gomes kind of leave the team as early as he did. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, really struggled to kind of make his mark in that team. I think his height was something that really hindered him at the time. He's a really small guy, but what he lacks for in height, he really makes up for in A, footballing intelligence, and B, footballing ability. This kid is a really, really talented footballer. And yes, he's not the biggest, but he plays in a role in an area of the pitch that a lot of people would typically tend to see a Rodri or a Declan Rice, but he is your typical deep-lying playmaker. And we talk about profiles that England typically struggle to develop or struggle to kind of see through to senior level. It's the Angle Gomes profile. And it's not one that most other teams struggle with. When you look at the likes of Italy, when you talk about Jorginho's and Verratti's or Andrea Pirlo's, when you look at Spain, I mean, they produce those players for fun. You look at Germany, you look at France, they really prioritize technical ability and a real patience and understanding of timing in midfield. I think that's something that England in the last few tournaments have really missed. But in Angle Gomes, under Lee Carsley, was crucial, being that deep-lying playmaker, one of two in those deeper roles, starting attacks from there. being the metronome. I'm not sure how much Angel Gomes is going to play for England or if this is just a one-time thing. But I think he's done a really good job at revitalizing his career since he left United to go to Lille. He's been a very, very good player over in Liga, and I'm very happy to see Lee Carsley kind of show some loyalty and show some faith to a guy who was so important for him at youth level, and hopefully he can make a similar impact at senior level as well too. The one omission, and I'm not 100% sure why, is Adam Wharton, who I believe is, again, similar to Angel Gomes, a profile that England typically struggle to produce. We'll see if this is just a one-time thing. Maybe it's due to fitness. I'm not 100% sure why, but I would expect Adam Wharton to be a very, very big contributor to England teams for the next 5 to 10 years. I think he's that promising, and I think he's that valuable to this England setup. So we'll see what the reasoning is for him not being in this team, but I would expect to see him going forward as well too. But I look at this midfield, and again, I really like what Lee Carsley is going for. He's going for young players. He's going for technically secure players. And I think you have a lot of different partnerships and different combinations of players that you can kind of form with that. And then we finish off with the front line. And again, the last 2 of the 6 from Lee Carsley's under-21 team that have featured in this squad is Anthony Gordon, who was massive for that team and didn't feature too much at the Euros, but is coming off a really good year of Newcastle, and Noni Madueke, who just recently scored his first hat-trick for Chelsea in the Premier League against Wolves, and was a massive part for everything Lee Carsley did with the England team. He's joined, of course, by Ollie Watkins, Bukayo Saka, Harry Kane, Jack Grealish, who finds his way back into the team, we'll speak on that, Eberechi Eze, and Jared Bowen. Now, again, I like the Gordon inclusion. I hope he features under Carsley more than he did under, Gareth Southgate, because I think when you look at that left-hand side, Rashford at this point in his career was kind of projected to be the long-term left winger for England, and we know that hasn't panned out. And at the Euros, it was really Foden and Bellingham alternating between playing on that left-hand side, where I think England were really crying out for some natural width and a natural winger. And in Anthony Gordon, unless I'm missing somebody, he's alongside, I guess, Jack Grealish, the only natural left-sided player in this team. And then in Madueke, again, I think he's fully earned his spot, which is a very stacked position for England, right? You got Bowen, you got Saka, you got Foden, who can also play out there on the right. So we'll see how much he features. Grealish, though, I think he's fortunate to make this team. Now, I think leaving him out of the Euros was the correct decision after the year he had for City. And to start the year as well, too, he's kind of been a guy who's featured a lot off the bench, and I'm skeptical over how much Grealish will really feature for City at all this year. When you look at Doku out there, when you look at Savio, who can play out on either wings, when you look at Foden, who might be asked to play out on the left a lot this year, how much will Jack Grealish really feature from the word go at City this year? But again, Lee Carsley, one thing he's been and shown in this squad selection is he's consistent. Technical security and technical ability is something he has prioritized with this England team. And it's hard to argue that when you look at the squad. So to kind of wrap that up, I like the team. I think it's ambitious. I think it's showing a real trust in youth. I think it's showing a real showing of faith in this direction that he wants England to continue going in, playing young, talented, technical players. And I'm very interested to see how this team does under Lee Carsley. So big up him, big up the England team. And I have to say, as an outsider, right, I haven't always been the most excited to watch England, but I'm very, very excited to see how this England squad looks under Lee Carsley. What's my starting 11 of this squad? Let me tell you. This is my starting squad, not in terms of what I think England will go for. This would be my team. I would go, personally, Dean Henderson in goal. I'd go Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. I'd go... Left back is a difficult one because there's no real natural left back here. I think I'd go Livramento at left back because I'm not a huge fan of Levi Colwill out there. I think I'm going John Stones with Mark Guehi. I think Guehi has earned his spot in this team post-Euros. I think Maguire's got to win that back. In midfield, I'm going Declan Rice. I'm going Kobbie Mainoo. And I'm going... Oh, this is tough. I think I'm starting Cole Palmer. Man. I think he's becoming somebody that is like a necessity in this team. Honestly, like he's making it very, very difficult to drop him. I think you got to go for him. I'm still going Harry Kane up front. Let's see how he plays for England this round of friendlies and this round of qualifiers. Going Harry Kane up front. I'm going Saka on the right, and on the left, I'm going Anthony Gordon. Yeah, I think I'm going Anthony Gordon, chat. I think I don't know where Foden really plays in this team. That's up for him to kind of show and bounce back from that disappointing Euros campaign. Personally, chat, I think Pickford's time in this England team, right? Like he's been one of the undroppables for this team, but he's one of those guys, right, that has been really dependable for the team, but I also think he really affects the way you want to play, bro. The amount of times this just goes long. I think England are going to look to kind of evolve as a team from that style. So, look, you guys might not like the Dean Henderson shot. Maybe you decide to go for Nick Pope or Ramsdale if he ever gets back into this team. But for me, Pickford, I think I would start to move away from that personally. And I think, look, I don't think Henderson is Ederson per se, but when I look at these three goalkeepers between himself, Pickford, and Pope, who is probably best suited to playing this possession first style of play? It's probably Dean Henderson, bro.
The real team is Jordan Pickford.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Trent.
Okay.
John Stones.
Yeah.
Gahey.
Yeah.
Who's England's options? Left back.
Livermento plays out there.
It's Rico Lewis.
Lewis is playing left back for you.
It's Rico Lewis.
Okay, Rico Lewis, left back.
Midfield.
Yeah.
Rice.
Yeah.
Mainu.
Yeah.
Gomez. 100%. He's gonna. He needs to show people level. 100%.
Yeah, hold on. So where's Cole Palmer playing?
Let me get there.
Okay.
Bukayo Saka.
Where?
Right wing.
Okay.
Left wing.
Yeah.
Is Anthony Gordon.
Yeah.
Up front.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer, man. Cole Palmer. False 9. That's the England team, bro.
I was wondering where's Kane fitting into this team?
Kane. We've moved on. We ain't doing this whole Euro qualifiers. If our World Cup he's gonna bang bare goals and find his way into the World Cup 2026. We're moving on.
What's that one?
We're moving on.
Oh, you just knew that was coming.
Yeah,
you just knew that was gonna happen.
We're moving on. I don't care no more,
Cole
man.
Palmer in the Firmino role.
Cole Palmer, false 9. Now I've seen the light. We're getting these guys out of here.
Yeah.
Bro. Rico Lewis, technical, can come inside, play anywhere.
Wait, hold on. I thought you didn't like these short DMs in Angel Gomes.
He's not a DM.
But he's a deep lying midfielder, bro.
Who's the short DM? No,
because you were talking about...
We got the enforcer of Declan Rice. I don't need him doing the...
Is there enough...
João Neves. No, I don't need Gomez being a destroyer. Get on the ball and make shit happen. I've got the enforcer. Right.
I don't hate it.
Mainu, do you know how Mainu and Gomez hoops? With Rico Lewis, Trent. Oh, this is football. This is football, bro. Bro, what?
I know. Let me tell you this, right? I'm excited to see you guys. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I looked at an England selection. Even going into the Euros, I was saying I have no faith in this team whatsoever. I'm not saying Lee Carsley is going to lead this team to the World Cup, but I'm excited to at least see it, bro. I like the selection. I think for me, the only one I would have liked to see Wharton involved. I'm not sure why Wharton's not in there. I don't know what it's down to, but I really like the selection, bro. I think it's ambitious. I think he's gone for young players, technical ability.
I like it. Obviously, Jude will come back in. Yeah, I mean, other than that, he's the only one that's like a surefire.
So what? No, hold on. No, Philip Walter Foden is making your team.
No.
He's not making your team.
Foden, we retired Foden.
You retired Foden?
We retired Foden. We retired him.
You don't think under Lee Carsley he can rejuvenate himself?
Foden, he has to work hard. He has to work hard to get back into the team. Work hard. He's not in that team, bro. He's not there on merit. He's not there on merit. He's out of there. Even Kane, out of there. Yeah. Jude, for me, bench.
But Jude is bench.
Bench.
You lost your mind,
I need ballers. That's what I need, bro. I'm dead ass, bro.
Oh my God, they're saying you lost it, bro.
Nah, I haven't.
They're saying you lost it.
You guys have short memory, man. You guys have short. Do you remember what happened at the World Cup? I mean, at the Euros.
Yeah, but was that no Southgate tax involved in that? You don't want to see these guys given a chance under.
Nah, work hard, bro. This is Lee Carsley, bro. Work hard. This is Lee Carsley. Literally, Gomez and Mainu wavelength instantly.
Yeah. What that Carrington hyperlink.
Wavelength instantly. Rico, Trent, Bukayo. These are players, wavelength players. Cole Palmer. You man now want to start forcing back in Jude. Clunky and Kane. Let me pin it out wide.
Alright, chat. I just have one question though.
Foden.
I have one question. I have one question.
What?
It's easy saying this on my stream.
I
want to see this on Inside Scoop. I want to see this on FCM.
Yes,
Are we gonna see it?
See, bro. You will see. I'm telling you now. That is the team. Wavelength team. Just remember, you guys were all calling me crazy about Harry Kane, and you all came apologizing. Don't forget that. So you're calling me crazy right now. We'll see. You all came apologizing.
Anyways, chat, just to kind of wrap it up, that's my thoughts on the England squad selection. I've never been high on England, especially under Gareth Southgate. As much respect as I think he did with the job, he did better than I ever thought he would. I'm excited to see this team. I'm not sure how far they're going to go, and I'm not sure if Lee Carsley is going to get this job permanently, but me, I'm a fan of ambition, and I'm a fan of taking risks and giving youth a chance, and I really like this squad selection. So good luck to Lee Carsley. I look forward to seeing the qualifiers that his team kind of plays, and yeah, let's see how he does.